said that you can, and how would you do this?
And China would then, I would say, here's what I say. China has absolute control over them, much more so than they say. They tell us they don't have that kind of control. And that's the way I deal. I mean, I do deals where I say, I don't really have that much, but I have total control. I say, I can't really make that decision if I'll has to make that decision, okay? And they'll say, and then China's doing that. They're toying with us. China is toying with us. China has absolute, because North Korea wouldn't eat. Everything comes through China. So if China said, boom, and they say that's the end, they build a very small wall, because you will need a very short wall there. But everything comes through that spine. Right? So China would say, that's it. You got to get rid of it. You got to pay for it. We're not going to do this anymore. They have control. But they tell us they don't.
I just want to follow up
on how specifically what would the American U.S. president do to cut back on that trade with China?
Well, one thing it did was, look, what China's done with their currency, with the devaluations, is unbelievable. It's impossible for our companies to do. They've taken our businesses, and, I thought they did their massive devaluations. I never thought they'd do another devaluation, and then you had on the front page of your paper, now it's already a long time, but it's 2.5 months ago probably, the largest devaluation in 20 years. And I thought they devalued to the point that they couldn't do it anymore. The reason they do is they have no respect for our president, they have no respect for our country. They think we're very stupid people, by the way. Very stupid people. They were never going to do a devaluation. And all of a sudden, we have all of these other problems, and they said, let's do it big. And they devalued, probably 2.5, 3 months ago, the largest devaluation in 20 years, 2 decades. Actually, you wrote it as 2 decades, which sounds very elegant. That's why they're good writers sometimes. But it was in 2 decades. To think that they would do a devaluation like that, on top of all of the devaluation, and what it makes it impossible to beat. And watch Japan, because Abe is a very good leader. And we have Kennedy, what's her name? Carolyn Kennedy is our chief representative. She didn't even have the job. She was on 60 Minutes. They say, how do you get the job? Oh, I asked them for the job. What job? Any job in the White House. They said, would you like to be the ambassador to Japan? She said, go check it. I mean, she goes, really? Like that. She wanted a job. She wanted to work somewhere in the White House. She couldn't believe it. She's dealing with Abe, who's a killer. They have devalued now. Take a look at Caterpillar. What's happening? I do a lot of business with Caterpillar. Take a look at Caterpillar. Take a look at what's happening to our company. Today, and I tell the story, maybe some of you, but I use this at Komatsu. Komatsu's a big tractor company, like a Caterpillar. The equipment's very good, not as good. And a friend of mine who's a big excavator just bought a tremendous amount. He's like the biggest. And he just bought a tremendous amount of Komatsu tractors. The first time in his life. And he's depressed. I said, what's wrong? He says, I just bought Komatsu. I didn't buy Caterpillar. They couldn't compete. This was recently because Japan had devalued their currency so much that they couldn't compete. So they went out and they bought Komatsu tractors. And he's not happy. I said, by the way, are they good? Yeah, they're good, but they're not as good. But it didn't matter. He owed it to his company, to his family, to his employees. He bought Komatsu. Look at what's happening to Caterpillar.
So I'm sorry, maybe I'm just not getting the point, but so what would you do as president to put pressure on China? Would you cut off Caterpillar sales?
No, I wouldn't. I would tax China coming in, products coming in. Tariff. I would do a tariff, yes. And they do it to us. We have to be smart. I'm a free trader. And some of the people would say, oh, it's terrible. I'm a free trader. I love free trade. But it's got to be reasonably fair. I would do a tax. And the tax, let me tell you what the tax should be. The tax should be 45%. That would be a tax that would be the equivalent to some of the kind of devaluations that they've done. They cannot believe that we haven't